What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders Awakened. I've been getting some requests for the Arcane Library. The Arcane Library is one of the easier Act 3 maps, and of course the loot does reflect that. It's going to be the lowest of the Act 3 qualities. However, it still has the potential to drop some fairly decent loot. So today we're going to take a look at a Wave 23 start on Massacre Hardcore Arcane Library. This is a build that was put up on the planner from Mushroom Cake. I will put a link down in the description below. Let's hop right on in and get to it. Now, Mushroom Cake did not post up any minimum stats. I'm going to guess and say that to do the build exactly as I'm doing it, you're going to have about 5,000 main stat on all of your builders. Anything lower than that, and I think the build is possible, however, you are going to have to get sweaty and heavily contribute to the run. Now, first things first, let's go ahead and hop to it. We are going to basically shrink this down to two main areas. We got two cores, that is our two areas. So let's go ahead and throw an R stack right here on the core, just as close as we can get it to the core. And then right over in the corner here for one more R stack. Now, taking a look at how we want to wall it off. Now, obviously, if we're just using one R stack per core, we are going to have to turtle this bad boy out. So let's start off on this side. We're going to put down a 3 DU wall right here. If you don't have a beamer all set up, you can use square walls. Just throw a square wall right at the base of the stairs. Now we're going to put a 3 DU wall over here as well. However, on this lane, we are going to move it back just a little bit. Now, why is that? Well, as you can tell by the billboard here, this is a heavy kobold lane, and the kobolds are going to get destroyed. However, if you put the wall up top here, it's going to be taking some heavy damage. And then right here on this lane as well, right on top here, we're just going to go with a 3DU blocking field. On this lane, we are going to add to that, and directly in front of that blocking field, we're going to go ahead and go with a 1DU reflect beam. Now we are going to need some gas traps here. We're going to share gas traps on this lane, so I'm going to pop one right in the corner, and then this lane is going to get a gas trap all to itself. Now, of course, we do want to tie all this together with a buff beam, so we are going to drop a buff beam across that wall and onto this gas trap, and should be GG's right there. Going to go ahead and upgrade that buff beam all the way. Now, coming over to this side, what do we want to do? Well, we're going to start off with a 4DU wall just stretching right across this area. So just 4DU, just throw it across there. Nothing really overly important about the placement. Depending on your aura range, just make sure the wall is, of course, inside of your auras there, and then we'll drop a gas trap just right about like so. Now over here on this lane, we want to do the same thing. We're going to use one big wall. So we're going to use a 5DU wall. You do want to start it right about in the middle of this bend right here. And you want to make sure when you're placing it, you're not placing it to a point where enemies are going to be able to cleave the core. So, of course, depending on where you place the other end of this is going to depend on how close the enemies can get to the core. That's a little bit close for an ogre right there. However, I think that will hold up just fine. Now, in addition to that, on this lane, we are going to get a bunch of ranged mobs. We've got quite a few Dark Elf mages, and we've got quite a few archers as well, right up in the top right corner there. These guys are going to take some pot shots at the core. Normally, I would like to put a reflect beam in front to save the wall a little bit of damage. In this particular situation, I'm going to go ahead and put it right back at the core, just to make sure that we've got plenty of coverage to any ranged mobs, whether they be in this main lane or over here to the side. Now, in addition to that, we can do the same thing over here. However, here we're going to go ahead and just throw it right out front, and we're going to protect that blocking field just a bit with this reflect beam. Once again, just 1 DU. don't get too carried away on the spending there. Okay, now we need to kind of set up the bulk of our build. We're going to go 3 DSTs and 3 Flame Burst Towers. We've basically got 3 general killing areas on this map, and we're going to just point essentially one of them at each of them. Now, I am going to give a little bit of space from the table here. I tried doing it up in this area. You can do it right here, but it's super, super tight. Getting 2 towers next to each other in that area and still getting reflect beams around it. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag it right out over here. So we've got 3 areas. We want 1 flame burst covering this general area. We want another flame burst that is going to be kind of across the way there, covering that main area, and then a third right here covering the area closest to us. Now we want to do the exact same thing with a Deadly Strike. Actually, I might have to move... No, they're good. I was going to say I might have to move them out a little bit. We're going to go 1 covering over the area to the left. We're going to put 1 right in the middle that is covering the area across the way. And then the third and final is going to be covering this back area here. Now, we do want to get a buff beam on this guy. We can do it with just a 4DU buff beam. However, you will want to make sure that all your towers are getting the boost once you pop that down. So we see like this one here on the end is not getting it. We're going to have to reposition it just a touch. Everything else looks good, but that one right on the end is not getting buffed. So let's bring it out just a tiny bit more and then try it one more time here. Once again, just the 4DU. And this time it looks like we've got all 6 of them, so we're in good shape. Now we want to go ahead and get down some reflect beams to protect all of this hotness. Let's go ahead and throw 1 reflect beam. Let's just do 4 reflect beams. Just do a straight up box right around our tower area. Now this is going to leave 3D left, and what did I miss? Well, I missed a gas trap over on this lane, so we will want to put a gas trap right over here to provide a little bit of crowd control as well. Now, what happens if we get a poison immune siren? Well, obviously Sharkin are not going to, a poison immune Sharkin is going to just rush right up here. However, we do have a DST pointed every direction, and Sharkin are relatively high on the priority list. Now, you don't have to play on a boost monk, but you can. I do love playing on my boost monk, so I am going to boost it out with a speedy gemstone. And for upgrades, prior to getting the wave started, we just want to prioritize the buff beams. I'm going to throw 1 up on each wall and on each aura just to get a little bit more out of them. And then I got that buff beam upgraded already, didn't I? Yep. So let's just go ahead and hit each one of the auras once. We'll pop 1 upgrade into each of the walls. And then for the remainder, just 1700 left, we can go ahead and we can actually get 2 upgrades on almost everything. Let's get 2 ups on each of the DSTs, 2 ups on the 2 outside flame bursts, and just 1 upgrade on the one in the middle. Now, it's not super important about making sure your speedy gemstone is positioned properly. And then remember, this is also a build that you can kill the sirens if you choose to, or you can ignore them. Either or, you are completely protected versus any ranged siren shenanigans right here. I usually find the easiest thing to do is just to kind of spray into this lane. You can just spray into this lane. It really helps things out over here. This is obviously a big, big lane, and it's also a heavy ogre lane, as we do get just an absolute ton of ogres coming out on this side. However, the map runs super smooth, and Mushroom Cake definitely put together a good one. I've even tried it swapping out the flame bursts and going with lightning towers instead, and that worked really well. To do that, I dropped all of those walls down to 2 DU across the way there, just to make sure I was going to have that additional, DU available to get those LTs down. The LTs didn't work as well as the flame bursts, not going to lie, but it's always fun to see LTs zapping the crap out of everything. So LTs will work if you want to try something different. Now, the problem with LTs are there's going to be a little bit of a challenge with them reaching over into that far Kobold lane, and then the Flame Bursts, of course, just really easily reach over there. So that's the benefit with the Flame Burst over the LTs, plus the Flame Bursts are just mean as hell. They cost less, they do more damage, and it's an explosion, so it is hitting the entire pack. But as you see, the map runs super smooth. Definitely a very nice build, even if you're not necessarily wanting to farm this map, just wanting to kind of break up your grind. You're not going to want to leave Act 3 if you're looking for armor pieces or giraffes. So Arcane Library is a great spot just to do a little farming, just to mix things up a little bit, as, you know, grinding Glitterhelm or Royal Gardens or Summit or whatever you're grinding can get extremely tiring doing the same map over and over and over again, the 16,742,000 times that we're going to have to run it. That aura is getting pretty darn squished over there. Let's run over here and just slap a repair on this bad boy. And, you know, like I mentioned, you don't have to play a Boost Monk if you don't want. I like playing the Boost Monk. I like boosting towers and getting the most out of my defenses. So I'm playing the Boost Monk, but you can play a Huntress, you can play a Squire, you can play an EV, you can just run around the map and just do crazy stuff. Just do whatever you want. The build is very solid and definitely going to hold quite nicely. Now, Wave 23 has burned down. We will go ahead and jump on forward to Wave 24. I'm just going to prioritize just one upgrade on anything. Anything that needs to be repaired, I'm just going to upgrade it instead, and that is about it. It's a pretty smooth running build that will definitely get the job done for you on Arcane Library. So hats off once again to Mushroom Cake for another awesome build posted up on the planner. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about the planner, go into any map and hit Escape. If you hit this build suggestions button, it is going to open up the DD Planner website to the map that you're on and the difficulty you're on, and give you some options of builds that were posted up there by the community that have worked for them. Now, some of the builds will have specific stats and lots of directions. Some of the builds are not quite as thorough in that area. However, every build that's posted up there, someone has had success with it, and it might work for you too. We got just tons of mana left over now. Let's throw all of the upgrades in here and jump on forward to Wave 25. And here we are on Wave 25 now. I didn't do any repairs that wave, so you see that my aura did get a little bit low. I should have came over and repaired that. However, I wanted you all to see exactly how the map was when I was all finished up. I'm just going to follow this same basic strategy, so anything that needs a repair, instead of giving it a repair, I'm going to give it an upgrade. And one thing about this map is it gives you just a ton of mana, so there's lots of mana to go around. There's just no doubt about it. So let's see, what do we have over here? Lots more land, just a ton of mana. Let's go ahead and throw an upgrade on that. Once again, the auras all need a little love, so instead of repairing them, let's just upgrade them. Let's go ahead and hit this wall as well, and then that leaves 4k left to throw into our DSTs. Can I get them? I can't get them all upgraded all the way, but that was a lot of work put into them. I'm going to snag that mana right there, just in case I do need to make any emergency repairs. And then let's let Wave 25 fly here. Now, as I mentioned, the easiest thing I found to do is to spray into that lane, but remember, Poison Sirens are Poison Sirens. They're irritating as hell. If you see a Poison Siren, you don't necessarily have to kill the Siren if you don't want, but it's definitely a good idea to just kind of spray down the lane in the general area where the Siren is at. So the DSTs and the Flame Burst do a great job clearing the packs. When there's nothing out of the ordinary going on, as I said in the first wave, I just spray into this lane. As you see, another Poison Siren, particularly when the Poison Siren come, if you see any Sharkin in the pack behind, that's what you want to be shooting at. The Orcs, they can come. Let them come to the wall, it's all good. However, if you see a Sharkin back there, you're going to want to smack on that guy just a touch. Now, also, as mentioned, that corner lane across the way right there is a heavy kobold lane. If anytime I see any buildup of kobolds there, I am going to spray into that lane. Now, we do have a poison siren from all the way in the back room. So I just want to keep an eye on that area and make sure no Sharkin are pushing through. The DSTs, this is a small map, you know, so the DSTs are going to reach everywhere without any major problem, and the Flame Burst is going to shoot into just about everywhere without any major problem. However, anywhere where you're going to add a little bit of DPS, you're just going to be helping out your defenses, so spray it around. If you start it earlier and you get everything full upgraded, I could see this one being just really full AFK sitting here on a monk with a speedy gemstone, or sitting here on anybody with a speedy gemstone. However, if you're active, the waves are going to run a little bit quicker, and the map doesn't run, it's not too bad. It runs really relatively quick. Not a ton of mobs, as you see here, solo wave 25. There's only 1,600 mobs, and there's a lot of entrances. So, with not a ton of mobs and a lot of entrances, the mobs do come out fast, and they burn really fast as well. Now, with a few upgrades on that strength drain, you see it's just nowhere near the danger zone with only 100 mobs left, so no need to run around and dish out any repairs here in this final lane, or final wave. Now that I do have an ogre across the way there, I am going to put some shots in on it, just to help things burn just a little bit quicker. Now that, you know, the Flame Burst and the DSTs are hitting it, it's pretty much GG for that guy. And we've got just a few mobs left, and there we go for a Wave 23 victory on Arcane Library Massacre Hardcore Survival. Now let's take a look at the loot, see if we get anything good. We got a Godly Giraffe out of the deal, and it is not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible either, so I will probably keep that one around. So that will do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. There is a link down in the description to Mushroom Cake's build over on the planner, so go over and check it out and vote it up. But I'll see you next time around, y'all. Thanks again. Take it easy.